Hello, and welcome to Wild in Nature, the first series brought to you by Geo Africa Productions. My name is Anthony Mbagori, and I'll be your guide through some of Africa's most iconic natural hotspots. Today we find ourselves at the majestic Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy, where we will learn what it takes to become an epicenter for conservation. We will also explore what the Conservancy has to offer to its visitors, paying close attention to the Mountain Bongo Rewilding Program, a conservation effort that aims to rebuild the populations of the critically endangered mountain bongo species. Let's go on a journey into the wild and nature. The Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy. Over 1,200 acres of protected land, located in Nanyuki on the slopes of Mount Kenya. The mountain is the second highest mountain in the African continent after Kilimanjaro and the highest mountain in Kenya, standing at over 17,000 feet above sea level. Many of the country's rivers begin on these very mountain slopes, which hydroelectric plants supply Kenya with much of its electric power, making this region of Kenya important to the ecosystem's survival. Several types of plants and animals grow and live here. Grasslands cover the lower parts. Higher up you will find dense forests with cedarwood and yellowwood trees surrounding the mountain. The Conservancy is home to 28 different animal species, hosting a population of roughly 1,200 animals, and is home to the beautiful mountain bongo. In 1997, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, declared Mount Kenya a World Heritage Site. This designation was expanded to include the entire national park.
My name is Nyawera Kayuki. I am the chair of the Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy Board of Trustees, as well as the CEO of the Mount Kenya Conservancy. Our purpose is really to be a beacon of conservation, to give people hope and inspiration to do their part.
The natural world is facing threats, from habitat loss to climate change caused by human interference with nature. The Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy is at the forefront of conservation efforts in this region, embodying a private conservancy, luxury hotel, and animal orphanage. These establishments have set up a framework that encourage sustainable practices and combine luxury travel with critical environmental awareness and protection, making the Mount Kenya Conservancy a global beacon for conservation. In 1964, a young American film actor Bill Holden and TV personality Don Hunt met in Kenya and joined forces with park wardens and conservationists to preserve and protect the environment. It was around this time, in 1967, that the Mount Kenya Game Ranch was founded. Nestled at the base of the majestic mountain lies the Fairmont Mount Kenya, a luxurious hotel that offers a unique blend of adventure and comfort. Conservation efforts in Kenya are supported by the income generated by tourism, and the two have always gone hand in hand in the country.
My name is Véronique Delattre. I'm the general manager of the Fairmont Mount Kenya Safari Club. We are located on the Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy, and this is a hotel which is a landmark. Historically, it has been built in 1938 by an extravagant couple who basically fall in love with the Monkenya and the wildlife. We provide experience. And we provide experience not only to stay in our hotel and to enjoy the beauty, but we provide an experience as well for them to discover what we have to offer, which means Monkenya, the wildlife, the ecosystem, the sanctuary, and a lot of different activities as well.
Only through the creation of a conservation culture can we preserve the natural world.
Yeah, so at Mount Kenya we run the animal orphanage, and together with the animal orphanage we run also one of the critical facets of our programs is the conservation education.
By supporting students with internships and educational site visits, over 20,000 students are welcomed to the Conservancy annually, where they witness, learn, and get involved with conservation.
I'm about to finish my internship with the KWS team, Nanyuki Mount Kenya Veterinary Unit team, which is in close proximity with Mount Kenya and works in collaboration with the Mount Kenya team. Hi, I'm Gabby, and I've loved animals since I was 5. So it began with Murani. It was one of the last male northern white rhinos in Olpejeta. So meeting him really opened my mind up to other careers, because I always knew I wanted to work with animals somehow, but I wasn't sure how. And then the fact that he was endangered, I thought, why not become a vet?
As poaching and destruction of habitat increases, so does the number of orphaned animals. So in the 60s, the Mount Kenya Game Ranch established the Mount Kenya Animal Orphanage to provide them with a home.
So this one is an eland. Elands are among the species of the antelopes, and she has been here since August 2022. She's an orphan. The mommy died. My name is Sari Kibet Ngeno, and I'm a wildlife officer at Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy. I gather for the welfare of the animals within the animal orphanage, the mountain bongos, as well as the free-ranging animals. It will be a happy moment for me to see these animals thriving into the next generation as we make some efforts to revive their population to come, especially for the mountain bongos.
Protected areas have been established to provide a safe haven for wildlife. Anti-poaching patrols are conducted to stop illegal hunting, and captive breeding programs are being used to increase the wildlife populations of endangered species. Taking care of these animals is hard work and requires a great deal of sacrifice, and monitoring them in the wild sometimes comes with high personal risk.
For me to get the elephant man, this is my second life. I was attacked by the bull wild elephant, and he was hurting me very badly, because the time I was taking care for those bongos, they came from America. 7 elephants, they were coming in a quarantine where we are keeping the bongos. Well, he came to me, he was jumping near me like this. He was thinking he was step on me, but not. But he kneeled down, he hit me with the ivory. One ivory go through my back here, take me up, down, and then 2 ivory through my stomach. But he managed to throw me at the top of the bush. So the time he was coming to clear that bush, I was jumping from the bush, holding my stomach because all my stomach was outside. But I found a big log was lying out there, and then I hid under the log.
James has a remarkable story, and he has taken his responsibility to great lengths while fulfilling his duty protecting the animals. He is a walking miracle, despite his trials which would have disheartened most from the fight.
I love working here because this is very, very special because we have this rare antelope, which is the bongo. And I love those animals. And that's where I take care for them very happily and very goodly. I come very early in the morning to take care for them because I like them.
Conservation is part of James's livelihood and the livelihoods of so many Kenyans who work tirelessly from sun up to sundown, ensuring these last fragments of wild on our planet remain intact for generations to come, to enjoy and preserve as we did. There are so many parts that go into the care and protection of an animal species, given by those connected to the land and the wildlife through the ages. Without them, there is no conservation. There is still much work to be done, but we can take heart in knowing that we are not alone in this fight. The mountain bongo, an antelope species that was on the brink of extinction just 2 decades ago. Their numbers in the wild dropping below 100. Red listed as a species facing high risk of extinction.
At Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy, we have the Bongo program. Currently we are doing the Bongo rehabilitation, having set up the Mawingo Mountain Bongo Sanctuary, which was officially launched in the year 2022, the month of March. Basically for this program, we're trying to see how to rewild the semi-captive bongos that currently exist within the Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy.
Bongo program that is done by the Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy. It's about setting forth and saying, fine, rewilding, breeding, and then eventually release back into the natural habitat. But then you can't do that if you don't take care of all of the factors that actually enabled animals to become endangered and species.
My name is Robert Alho. I'm a veterinarian by training, and I specialize in wildlife. And in my docket, I focus on reintroductions of endangered species or rare animals. And here at Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy, I head the conservancy in terms of general operations and administration, and also I oversee the mountain bongo breeding and rewilding program. The mountain bongo breeding program started in 2004 yet at Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy, and it was triggered by the fact that the bongo population in the wild was declining at a fast pace, and the numbers since then in the wild have been less than 100. Actually, we were staring at the species which was almost extinct in the wild, and this extinction was primarily driven by relentless poaching, because the bongo is a big antelope, so it's poached for both bush meat. The volume of meat is higher, the trophy for horns, it's good skin, and also there was also live trade, and those together, and disease. There was a rinderpest outbreak in 1980s. All that together brought the bongo population down its knees. Our intention is to breed the bongo and prime the bongos for survival in the wild. So we brought 18 animals from the zoos across America, and when they came here, we already had on the property 18 bongos, and that is what founded the breeding program.
Yes, there are various things that create like some kind of challenges in terms of rewilding individuals. One is the human contact. Once they get used to the human contact and the human presence, they somehow lose the fear of human beings. In other cases, they do not really know the challenges that comes with predation, so they have not been interacted with predators. In other cases, because of the kind of confinement, you find that it becomes difficult to control the kind of pathogens within those populations. So rate of disease or the risk of these animals getting sick within these kind of setups is usually quite high. That's why we need to do it very carefully, so that we introduce them slowly over time into an environment that has much less human interaction, so that the young ones, when they're born, then they don't really come into that very close contact with the human beings. During the actual translocation, we ensure that all other factors are in place, security measures have been put in place. The risk of predation is minimal or not none. And once we've taken in the animals into that setup, there's what we call the post-translocation monitoring. We have teams that are well trained. They can follow the animals closely in the initial stages. And we've also set up camera traps to do like remote kind of monitoring, so that we don't really interfere with their natural movements, and they don't have to really be looking behind the backs to check if there's anybody following them.
The process of rewilding begins with preparing the animals for release. It is difficult work that requires the expertise of veterinarians and various animal behavior and health experts. This process is done gradually, with the animal being monitored and closely followed to ensure their well-being. Rewilding is a challenging but essential process for the survival of many endangered animals. The protection and preservation of Mount Kenya's ecosystem and the survival of its unique species takes great cooperation and understanding from local communities.
So you have to look at habitat. We have to look at how we engage with the communities that surround these spaces and give them value for what they have to sacrifice.
My name is Dr. Dominic Mijele. I work for Kenya Wildlife Service as a wildlife veterinarian. I'm based here in Nyuki. We have a veterinary unit that is sponsored by Sheldrick Wildlife Trust and also supported by Kenya Wildlife Service. It also helps it with the mountain Bongo conservation in Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy. We offer daily treatments to the Bongos population. So veterinary service is very key in wildlife conservation. Actually, as we speak now, a lot of wildlife issues require veterinary intervention. We need very experienced and qualified veterinarians and animal species specialists, people who have done ecology, laboratory technicians, animal keepers, and capture rangers.
The most challenging part is darting, because the animal will not stand still.
are at a critical point in the history of our planet. The natural world and its biodiversity are under threats from all angles, caused mainly by human activities, and unless we take action, we risk losing it forever. Conservation is not just about protecting the natural world, it's also about protecting our own. It is important for future generations to be involved in conservation efforts, as we are the ones who will inherit the natural world and its resources. We all love the planet and the mountain bongo, yet it's not only about saving the species. Planting a tree, recycling, or being more conscious of our water usage is where we can all make a start. To make a difference today, the natural world is the foundation of all life on Earth, providing us with the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. This exhortation hopes to inspire and empower the next generation of conservationists to stand with the cause.
Conservation.
Conservation for me means protecting our environment.
I think that conservation is about protection first.
For me, conservation, it's much entails maybe the protection of the wild species as well as their habitat.
We can't do without the environment. You are hearing about climate change. How does climate change come about? Is when we become poor stewards of the environment. Because the environment, the vegetation we have, these are our lungs outside giving us the oxygen that we breathe. They are moderators of environment, and also aesthetically. Everybody who goes out of his house, the next thing you want to see may be green.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy for conservation from here because it did well to me, to my family. I am the father of 4, and I raise my babies with this job. I have the last born in University of Kimathi University, so I'm very, very happy to this job because it did more to me, because even everything I have in my house, it come from here. So I love the animals. Animal is my lover.
It's a privilege actually to be in the front line, to be able to just give these animals a better chance of survival in the wild. Yeah, and I would like my children and my grandchildren to also come and see bongos and experience them.
As the next generation of human beings on the planet, conservation is important because we want to keep what we have already, and we want the next generation after us to see what we have already. We want the people who took part in conserving the environment already to feel proud of us, the fact that we keep following in their footsteps and learning from them, and the do's and the don'ts, how to make the environment better, and generally making it sustainable, reducing your carbon footprint, everything involving the environment. Yeah.
It's about the restoration and protection of open spaces. It's about restoring the natural balance of the way we were once, where animals and human beings could coexist, and finding that again in a modern world. Trying to learn how we can take back and really pull back the damage that we've done. I believe we each have a role to play, however small or big, whether it's the difference of choosing to not throw out that plastic bag or bottle when you're in the car, to making the choice to actually give your time and energy to seeing nature, spending time in nature and appreciating this beauty, and realizing it may not always be here if we don't take the steps to protect it, if we don't take the steps to understand it, and we ensure we pass that on to future generations. I believe the saddest thing to happen would be to see more and more species, more and more habitats disappear, yet we had an opportunity to reverse that. And it's not one person who loses out, all of us as humanity lose out if that ever comes to be.